Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we have a quite special review today. This is review number 750, so I hope you've enjoyed the Polish Beer Month that's just finished airing as well. That was really good to film that. But for this one we have a special beer and we're going to return it to Iceland once again. The same brewery as in review number 700. So we're going to Reykjavik today to revisit Borg Brugghús and we're going to try the Garún number 19, which is the Icelandic Stout. It's an Imperial Stout that comes in at 11.5%, and I can tell you this beer is pretty damn good. Now this beer was actually one that was sent to me by Fabrizio and Tatiana from Rio. They were on holiday in Iceland and they sent me a few Brazilian beers and some Icelandic ones as well, and they sent me a bottle of this. The one that they sent me I drank with my dad and my friend at Christmas time, and this is actually one that I brought back with me from Iceland. I think it was a year before that, or maybe 2 years ago actually, that I bought this bottle, I'm sure, but it's aged a little bit, and that's quite cool because that means we can talk about how the beer ages a little bit in this video too. But thank you once again to Fabrizio and Tatiana for sending me the Brazilian beers and the Icelandic ones, and I hope you guys watching have enjoyed the beers, the reviews of the beers that they've sent me. Very, very kind, and I do need to make the video for the Brazilian candies that they sent me too, so a huge thank you to Fabrizio and Tatiana once again. I'm sure I'll go and visit them in Rio at some point fairly soon. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Borg Brugghús before. There's 4 of these now, so do make sure you check them out. And there's all the usual social media, so your support there would be much appreciated. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and I apologise in advance for any bad Icelandic pronunciations in this video. It's quite a difficult language actually, maybe the hardest of the Nordic languages behind Finnish of course, but I hope you guys appreciate the effort nonetheless. So anyway, to tell you about Borg Brugghús. So Borg Brugghús, or Town Brewery as it would translate to in English, is the craft division of the Icelandic Brewery in Iceland, which is part of the Uldagun group, and this is probably the oldest brewery in the country, and it's based in the capital city of Reykjavik in the west of Iceland. Really nice city actually. But Egil Skallagrimsson was probably the most famous Viking who ever lived, and he had a great impact on Iceland. He was born in the year 910 and he was a very high-spirited and stubborn individual, and apparently not the most handsome of men. But at a very young age he left to go on many successful voyages with his brother Thorolf, and he was made chief of Iceland upon his return. But Egil was apparently a great lover of mead, and there are many stories that talk about his affinity for a nip of alcohol, and this gave them good reason to name their brewery after Egil. But brewery Egil Skallagrimsson was founded in 1913, and it's since won many awards for its beer, and it really allows the brewery to have creativity, if you like. They founded the Borg Brugghús to really enhance the kind of craft beer spirit in Iceland, and these guys are really quite well known. Probably the most well-known Icelandic brewery actually these days. But the brewery is led by head brewer Valgeir Valgeirsson, and he was the original brewmaster at Ulfsholt, and he created the famous lava beer, which is probably in fairness that's the best known Icelandic craft beer. It's one of the ones that's exported all over the place. You have Einstök as well, but lava is probably one that is very, very well known, and that's a beautiful beer incidentally, so you should check it out. But they've got a good range of beers at Borg Brugghús. If you check out the website, you'll see my video for the Fenrir Tadrik tour, which is really cool of them that they put that up there, but you'll also see that they've maybe got about 35 or 40 different styles of beer now. There's a whole host of things, and I can guarantee you pretty much just pick a style of beer that you personally enjoy and try Borg's version of it, and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. They do some really awesome stuff. They've got meads, barley wines, India red lagers, red beers, brown beers, you know, pretty much any style you can think of. Borg have tried it and they do pretty damn good at it, I have to say, so do make sure you go and try some of their beers. They really are very, very good, and generally the Icelandic craft beers are very good. You've got Geiringer, you've got Ulfsholt, you've got Borg, and you've got a few other breweries now popping up as well, so make sure you try some Icelandic beers and go and visit the country because the people are awesome and it's really a very beautiful place. But anyway, let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer now. So this one is an 11.5% Imperial Stout. It's hopped with Magnum and Pearl, and it uses barley and rye in the malt base. It's quite a simple beer in terms of the composition of this one, but I can tell you from my own experiences it is a damn good beer. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. But this beer is one I'm really excited to actually make the review for you, because I did enjoy it just when I tasted. You can see it's quite simple in the artwork there. You can see 11.5%. There's the Borg Brugghús symbol on the cap there. It looks a bit like a kind of still or a boiling kettle that you would find in a brewery, but this beer looks very, very nice. I love the matted labels that Borg put on their beers. But yeah, you can see Garún Icelandic Stout. You can see the Borg symbol just in the bottom right side of the label there, sorry. But it should be a great beer. So let's get stuck into review number 750 then. So as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this beer. Yeah, this should be really awesome. So once again, thank you to Fabrizio and Tatiana for sending me one of these beers. It's really cool as well that I'm able to talk a little bit about how the beer's aged, because the one that Fabrizio and Tatiana sent me was really quite fresh, but my friend and my dad and I really enjoyed the beer when we tried it. So as you can see, and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, this beer is poured with a really dark ebony rosewood colour. It looks absolutely beautiful. There's a half finger of a frothy, quite dark beigey tan head on this one. It looks very nice. There's some big bubbles sticking to the side of the glass, just one or two. There's a few bits of sediment in there as well, which you would expect when the bottle was about 2 years old, and you can see a few little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of the head there. It's actually quite a lot of carbonation that's visible in this one, but it looks very nice. So let's take a look at the aroma of this one. Now the thing you're going to notice about this beer, it actually smells really sweet. There's a lot of caramel coming out of this one as well, and some chocolate too. Yeah, it smells really quite sweet actually. There's a good kind of woody or nutty note coming out, and I think that's probably to do with the fact that I've had it for 2 years. I find that with stouts, they do tend to become a little bit sweeter and a little bit more woody and nutty after a little while. And of course when it's 11.5%, you can pick up a little bit of the boozy character just mixing with the sweet caramel that comes out of this. I remember when it was a bit fresher as well, the caramel being a little bit more toasted. But yeah, it smells beautiful. There's maybe a little bit of licorice in there too, and you can pick up a little bit of the earthy hop in there. But in my opinion, I think that the beer's become a bit sweeter smelling, a bit more kind of nutty as well, and the hops aren't quite as prominent, but a nice kind of earthy hop in this one, some sweet chocolate, definitely some toasted brown sugars, just a little bit, but it's more leaning towards a sweet character now, and you can pick up a little bit of a red fruity ester as well. So let's give the beer a sugar up and we'll see how we get on with this actually. Yeah, when you sugar the beer up, the malt base becomes a little bit more bready. You can start to pick out the kind of rye elements and a little bit of the barley as well. It does smell a little bit more bready when you sugar it up. You can definitely smell the earthy hops in this one, but some nice chocolate. There's a tiny little bit of roasted malt, but not too much. A little bit of the black malts, but not really coffee-ish or anything like that. This is quite a sweet smelling beer now, this one. I remember it having a bit more of a kind of black, slightly coffee-ish malt presence, being fresh, but now it smells really sweet. But the coffee and black malts in the fresh one wasn't too prominent. It was still quite sweet. But yeah, it smells really nice. Nuts, a little bit of sweet caramel, chocolate, a little bit of licorice in it as well. Earthy hops are quite smooth, but overall this is a nice smelling beer, so do take a little bit of time and smell this before you actually get stuck into it. The fruity esters are coming out a bit more as well as it just warms up very slightly. But yeah, let's actually get stuck into this beer now. So this is the Garún number 19, the Icelandic Stout, a nice Imperial Stout at 11.5% from Borg Brugghús in Reykjavik in Iceland. I'm wearing blue today to represent Iceland, so I think by the time this video airs, it will be about time for the Euro football to start, so we'll toast to the Iceland football team. This is their very first time at an international tournament with football, so good luck to Iceland. Thank you once again to Fabrizio and Tatiana for sending me this bottle, and thank you once again for your support over the 750 videos or so that I've done. Skål! Yeah, beautiful beer. As I remember it, absolutely beautiful beer. The thing with the aging of this one, it actually tastes very similar to what I can remember. The aroma's changed a little bit. but the taste is actually quite similar. It's just a little bit of a woody and nutty character that's coming out in the middle of the palate. But as I always say, when you're tasting these beers, sugar them around the palate a little bit, and just let your whole mouth adjust before you start dissecting the flavour. But yeah, that's a really nice tasting beer, this one. That's one of the best stouts I've reviewed on the channel, there's no question about that. This is a very, very good beer. So if you find these beers, buy one and try it fresh, and then, or maybe buy a 6-pack of them and just age them and try them over like 10 years or something. These are very, very good beers, and at 11.5%, aging them is something that is really, really cool. But yeah, you actually do get more of the kind of toasted malts in this beer from the flavour. You don't pick it up so much in the aroma. The aroma has become a bit more sweet. So in the middle of the palate, the middle of your palate is just blanketed a little bit with a nice kind of rye bready malt. It's quite light though in comparison to the other things that are going on in the malt base. You get a little bit of dryness, and I think there's a little bit of a roasted kind of dark blacky character to this one. You can taste a bit of the brown sugars, but for me the malt base is more about the chocolate and a little bit about the licorice as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful beer, this one. Yeah, it's beautifully done. You can taste the alcohol in this one too, and of course at 11.5%, that's what you would expect. Iceland, of course, is a very cold country, so when it comes to making stronger beers like this, they do want a little bit of the alcohol warmth, but you can feel it right down here actually. This is a very, very nice beer, no question at all. There's a bit of the red fruity ester coming out near the front of the tongue too. Kind of figgy, but I want to say there's a little bit of sharper raisin flavours there, and I think that's something that's changed a little bit in this beer too as it's aged. I think the fruity character becomes just that little bit sharper, more towards the raisin side of things, but you'll feel that just behind the very front curve of the tongue. There's a little oily bubble, and some of these slightly candied reddish fruit esters just come out of this beer. It's really nice actually. There's a good blend of flavours in this, and it really is cool to see how this beer's aged, even if it's just over 2 years. But yeah, like I say, this is nice. It's really quite sweet chocolate. Those red fruity flavours blend quite well with the chocolate in this one. I'm not getting too much in the way of a woody or nutty character as the flavour's building, but when you move into the aftertaste, you can taste a little bit of a woody kind of nutty flavour, and the earthy hops at the sides of the palate start to come out a little bit more. Around the front curve of the tongue, there could be just a little bit of grassiness there. I mean, when there's Magnum and Pearl is a German hop, so it does have some noble character to it. Magnum, I remember being a little bit floral and a little bit grassy as well. So maybe around the front part of the tongue, you're getting a little bit of a smooth, grassy character. The earthiness kind of stops as you gradually come further forward, but I mean, the flavours in this beer blend together very, very well. There's no question about that, but it's interesting to see just how this beer is aged, but it's still, you know, it's absolutely beautiful. You need to try this one if you get the chance. Definitely one of the best beers you'll find from Iceland. The aftertaste, I would say, you get a little bit of the dark roasted character building in the malt base. The earthy hops linger there a bit. Some of the fruity character stays as well, but it's the chocolate. You get a bit of the chocolate and a bit of the roasted character, and there's also the woody and nutty infused flavours just sticking in there too. But I mean, overall, this is a brilliant beer. It's going to be hard to find an Imperial Stout like this one. This was rated at 96 on Rate Beer, or 97 I think, but it was only rated 56 within the style, so I mean that tells you this beer is very, very good, but it's quite quirky within the style, and I'd agree with that assessment actually. It's quite different in a lot of ways to the other Imperial Stouts I've tried before. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, this is full bodied, the carbonation is quite smooth on this one, it's actually quite oily. There's a big alcohol warmth from this one. This is actually probably one of the biggest alcohol warmth beers that I've reviewed, and it's quite interesting actually, because the last beer I reviewed for you, the barley wine from Poland, was the same. The alcohol warmth was really quite big in that one, but that one was only 9.8% I think. This one's 11.5, so you'd expect it more from that, but the alcohol warmth is really nice in this one, particularly when you think that it comes from such a cold country. But the malts in this one are well balanced. There's a good balance between the sweeter side of the malts and that more roasted and bitter character. As I said, the roasted bitter character comes out just a little bit later on into the aftertaste. But yeah, it's very well balanced. The hops are quite smooth. There's just a little bit of dryness in the back of the palate, but at the front of the tongue, it's really, really smooth. And there's that little bit of kind of slightly sharp but juicy, fruity character behind the front curve of the palate too. But I mean, overall, this is a really, really quite good beer. It's probably fair to say that this is one of the best stouts I've reviewed for you on the channel. It's quite different from the other ones that I've reviewed for you before. It's not quite as sweet. This one's got a very good balance between the sweet side of things and the fruity side of things, and also a little bit of the roasted character too, and it has the alcohol warmth. This is, for me, this is definitely a winter beer. I'm drinking it in the spring, so it's still quite good, but you know, this is a damn good beer. There's no question about that at all. And really, if you come across this, I would recommend you try, and I would recommend you buy a 6-pack of them and age them as well, because that you get more of the woody and kind of nutty flavours coming out in the beer in the aftertaste, and that's a really nice little addition to the beer. The fruit character, I think, changes a little bit too. But what the basic point of this review is that this is a damn good beer, and you need to try it for yourself. If you enjoy Imperial stouts, then I can see you really enjoying this one. This has got a great blend of flavours in it, and it's always cool to return it to Borg Brugghús once again. So yeah, go and try the Garún number 19 from Borg Brugghús in Reykjavik in Iceland. You need to try it for yourselves and see how you get on. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. As always, if you have tried this beer, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers from Borg Brugghús are as well, and hopefully I can return to Borg Brugghús in the near future and review some of those for you. I'd love to try their barley wine and their black IPAs and things like that. They've got some really good looking beers there now, so I need to see if I can get some more of their beers for you to review. But thank you again to Fabrizio and Tatiana for sending me this beer. Good luck to Iceland in the Euros this year. And thank you to all of you for watching. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media, but most importantly, go and check out Borg Brugghús, visit Iceland, and try some of the awesome beers that are on offer there. I'm sure you'd enjoy it if you went there. So cheers just now, and I will catch you soon. Skål. Thanks for your support over the 750 reviews. Cheers.